I said, today we will deviate for one day. We have to postpone the topic of tzedakah just for one time, because there's other things that are vital, important now in Halacha, supposed to be taken up. First place, I just want to mention that again, in the mitzvah, it's a mitzvah, it's a din of achdus. Achdus means unity among a group. The achdus should be, the real test of achdus is that a group should be considered one. Achdus, echad us. Group is actually one organism. It's one person, not 10 or 100. It's one person, and every single person in that group should feel the pain and suffering of every other one, as though it's actually his own. Feel it, should just more than sympathize, should act it. If somebody in the group is ill, needs a refuah, each one should feel it as though he himself is suffering, and should put an effort into tefillah. The Gemara says if you do that, you're not giving away your tefillah for nothing. It's back to the topic of tzedakah. When you give tzedakah, you are receiving much more than you are giving. Much, much more. When you daven with a refuah for somebody, you're not giving away, wasting the tefillah. Because wasting means that it goes to somebody else entirely. We call it wasting. It means if a person is selfish, he's still not going to lose his tefillah. The Lord says if you daven to somebody else, and you need that same item, you yourself are ill, and you're davening somebody else's cure, you get the cure first. You receive the cure first. The Pacific Kabbalah say that the reason is that a person's tefillah, if somebody else goes up to as high as Bina, the highest, the heavens, it's the heaven that's above the seven heavens. And in Bina, in order to receive a koyach of shefa, to bring down to the other person, he must first be put within himself. So it's first bestowed upon him, and then it goes to the person. That's why the Gemara says that he himself receives that love first. We should always feel for everyone in the group. One is ill, or one is in need, or one needs help. So cooperate together. Today, let's all say, all you have to do is answer Amen with kavanah. The foolish statement for one who's going into the hospital today. By the way, we visited Eli, and Hashem looks much better, he looks much happier. He was in very high flying spirits. And he must have drank some 100 proof or something. But it looked fine. Should be coming out. Although naturally, as is expected, the doctors could not diagnose the case. I don't know what it is. But today, though, one is going for an operation. Surgery is not mentioned, so let's all say the full shlema for Rivka Bas Sora. Full shlema, the ruach of the nefesh. Now, come back to this major topic that we have to stress because it's something that slips our mind time to time. The Gemara says that tefillah, davening, takes the place of a korban. When we had the Beis Hamikdash, the Jew would bring a korban every single day. In the morning, in the evening. Shachas, Shachas Mincha, night and the Shabbat. We'd have these two times for a korban, morning and night. Even. So now that we do not have the Beis Hamikdash, the Gemara says that we have now the kayach of tefillah. Our tefillah is in place of a korban. Right? It's vital because the tefillah today is as though we went to the Beis Hamikdash and brought a korban. The din of the korban is that a moon makes a korban posek. If the animal has a defect of any kind, physical defect, the aim of the korban becomes posek. You cannot bring it as a korban on this man. In that case, then, the person davens and there is a moon, a defect in his tefillah, means that either his tefillah is not accepted or the korban is rejected, or else he is committing the act of bringing a posek korban on his man. This is a very serious item. So Rabbi Nachman speaks about this and with a very strong azhara, a very strong warning. The answer is, could there be a person whose tefillah is perfect? Adam even is perfect. Everyone has all organs are perfect. When a person daven this whole tefillah without one single machshava, and the strange machshava that goes into a person's tefillah means that the Torah becomes possible because of the defect. Something isn't broken. One of the Avos is broken. So how can a person go through a whole tefillah and mamish have no figure, no mum at all to keep this problem kosher? The answer is, the English says, following the Gemara statement, that this is possible only by tefillah b'tzibur. The problem requires the dika inspection. Tefillah too requires inspection. The tefillah has an inspection, nobody can come out complete. But if tefillah comes tefillah b'tzibur, then there is no medika necessary for it. That means that kaviyachal tefillah, a korban that has a mum, if it is a korban tzibur, this doesn't hold a regular korban tzibur. In place of a korban tzibur, tefillah b'tzibur has no medika necessary. Whatever the korban is, if we know even for sure that there are whole pieces missing, certain parts of the tefillah represent the heads and the heart. You have the whole head gone, a headless tefillah, and still it's accepted in heaven. This is the kayach of tefillah b'tzibur. What is just as important, and just as important means that a person should Ivdu Hashem b'simcha. Ivdu means to daven with simcha. A person should feel simcha now. That's what we want to stress uppermost. And the Gemara says that one of the rabbis of the Gemara, his friend made him to read the song. He was very happy. He was elated, very highly elated. He asked him, "What are you so happy about?" He said, "He goes, I put on tefillin. I put on tefillin. You know what that is? I put on the crown of the king, crown of Hashem. What else should I be? I'm happy. Overjoyed." This was the case of one who felt, tzadik who felt in his marigish, all his elam, he felt the simcha of the mitzvah. We put on tefillin every day, and of course, it's become so habitual, it's a habit that we hardly feel. However, what we should feel, this is what we should take to mind. Do not do it abstractly, without thought. We should feel. If you stop for a second to think, every Jew should go out today, every one of us, go out today, and during the day, take time out for a minute to sing a niggun of simcha. That we zecher, despite everything else, we zecher, daven, posek. Posek is not the regular tefillah. It is a korban that's far above any other kind. Posek is a korban that's, the Gemara says that the person of daven posek is the shur of Elam. It's a special place of Elam. Yes, tefillah is amazing. Think of above all, to tell you that tefillah is a shadow which one is higher. But to have a tefillah of posek, which is the perfection, it is the highest, the apex, the highest possible point of tefillah is posek. And that would belittle this, belittle it, and you don't want it, you have to have it. You can have this schar for it. You have to think about it, concentrate. The fact that we were zecher steadily now, in fact, we had, due to a wedding, a couple of weddings, we were even zecher to have Sunday posek, which is just like a bonus thrown in. You can't be doing that too. We have had for a few weeks now a steady series of davening shachas posek, and we have to be awakened, to arouse our conscience, arouse our neshama, to know that this is not an ordinary occurrence. We have been accomplishing something which is so high, it is immeasurable. Let's follow up, let's acknowledge it through simcha, because if we are sameach, we're happy about it, the reward for it, the importance of it is multiplied manyfold. Let's continue to do this with simcha, give thanks to Hashem and Zakir on us, for this great mitzvah. We should be zecher to continue to daven as much as possible, seek it until the clock is changed, I guess, too late. But anyway, to always take advantage of this item, and it is something that nothing will never regret, but will always be happy with this chus. That's for me forever, because Arizal himself stressed one of the main items there is the secret. True Talmud Bavly, Talmud Bavly in all generations, the ones who always daven posek. And the Menachem Mendel Schneerson never missed a posek. Never missed it. Especially as being sick. Because the Gemara says that if a person is sick, and through being sick he misses davening or something, it's not a good sign. You're good, and you don't get sick. You get sick where it doesn't stop you from learning a davening. It's called Yisud Shel Aharon. Menachem Mendel Schneerson was zecher his whole lifetime, never missed a day of posek. Never. It's a remarkable record of a person who davened for 2 years, for 2 months, plus for 2 weeks. When he davened that way for over 90 years, seeking, that's a record that's to be admitted in mind. At least if we do daven or seeking, at least let's think about the fact that we are to accomplish it, and this should prompt us to continue to seek the opportunity of davening or seeking. And that's crucial. Davening or seeking will surely be to really bring the korbanos in the place of Mikdash very shortly. Yes, Moshe. Continuing Hilchot Tzedakah. In Tzedakah, there are different degrees in the value of mitzvahs. Not all mitzvahs are alike. Not each one gets the same schar. Mitzvahs tzedakah, there are many levels too. And as is written, one of the biggest levels possible, or as it says, there's nothing higher than that, is not to give money to a poor person, but to help a person from becoming poor. That's even more important than helping the poor. To prevent a sickness rather than to cure it. Of course, the best way for a person to prevent that sickness himself, the poor man himself, is by giving meiser. The person who gives meiser himself, he is saved from ever getting to poverty. A person who is on the brink of poverty, to give him a fast-sized amount of money that would sustain him, or to lend him money to go into business, or to support his business, strengthen it from going bankrupt, or help him by making him a partner. All these things are the highest madrega of tzedakah, higher than giving to a oni who is already an oni. At the same time, a person should be very careful, if possible, to give tzedakah hiddenly. The highest madrega of tzedakah itself is matan b'seisa. Matan b'seisa means 2 things. There are 2 ways of matan b'seisa. Either it means that the person who gives tzedakah does not know who is receiving this tzedakah, so he gives without knowing himself. Matan b'seisa also means that the person receiving the tzedakah does not know who gave it to him. He gives it anonymously, so that the recipient, does not know he's getting it from this person. The highest madrega is matan b'seisa completely. The person puts money into a tzedakah, a pushka, and the person who will get that money will not know he got it from him. The person who gave it doesn't know who's getting it. That's the highest madrega. Like the pushka here, there's nothing higher than that. It's matan b'seisa 100%. 99%. Of course, the Kabbalah don't know, the Nosson doesn't know who gets it, but among the Nosson, they know themselves, among themselves. Which is a question itself, of course. And the din says, what about boasting about giving tzedakah? They make an appeal, they get something and says, I give $150,000 for the Uja. Uja is an Arabic sort of place. They use $150,000, big money, and of course they announce it very loudly, and they print up a weekly bulletin that so-and-so has given money to this very worthy pro-Arabic or pro-Yagush organization. Federation, it's pro-Yagush all the way. So this person is giving money more for the sake of honor and covered here, and then for the sake of the mitzvah. A person should not give money and boast about it, because he loses part of the mitzvah. It's interesting, it's an interesting seeming difference between that Amor in Yudea says that a person who gives that kind of tzedakah loses the mitzvah altogether. He gives it in order to boast. For the sake of his covet and gaiva, he loses the mitzvah of tzedakah. R Nosson says he does not. He gets the mitzvah of tzedakah still in a lower degree, because the fact is that the oni is still having a pleasure out of him. The oni is still benefiting, no matter how much he gives for his selfish reasons. As long as the oni is benefiting, better give. That way you even don't have to give at all. So that's like Halacha. And of course, the best thing is not to boast, not to do it for the sake of covet, do it for the sake of the mitzvah itself. However, this says that in case a person contributes, donates, he donates, let's say, a Sefer Torah, or a parech as a covering for the Sefer Torah, or a yeshiva, or a shul, a room, or a wall, it is permissible to, not to boast about it, but actually to display, demonstrate, to show that he is the one that gave it, having his name written on it, meant to the same Torah, on the parechas, donated by, or on the wall, in the room, on the door, or on the sforim. He gave a set of sforim, right? The name of the sforim, donated by so-and-so. Not only is it not wrong, but there are some people who say it's not wrong to do it, so it's better if you give it not Mesaisa, without posting to have your name, without any, give the parechas or the item without having your name on it. The fact is that it's better to do so. It's better to have your name on the item you give. Of course, if it's a sizable contribution, not if you give, let's say, 1 tillim. You give something which is worthy, worthwhile, expensive, to have your name written, donated by so-and-so. The reason, obviously, is, of course, again, there is conflict about this, but the one side is always right, and the right side is that this writing, you have, let's say, a matla b'sei v'teira, or you have, let's say, a set of sforim given to shul, to yeshiva, you give a shas, a set of shulchan, or a set of akutei halachas, expensive set, you have your name written inside, donated by so-and-so. This sign donated by, there's a photograph taken of this sign. This photograph is sent up to heaven and pasted on the album of this person's record. When the time comes to collect, to discuss his mitzvahs, this is placed on a scale. This is brought to the court. So the sign itself is very valuable. And of course, others say, you don't need a sign because in heaven they don't forget about it, and everything is recorded. Anyhow it's recorded. The fact is that there were big tzaddikim. Big was meaning very tzaddikim, simple people. Very plain people. The lowest type, regular people in the shul, not the rabbonim, not the Aharon. Plain ones who said tillim, nothing else. But they were so tzaddikim in the last generation that they're bigger than today's biggest tzaddikim. These Hamoin Am, there were many who used to give tzedakah, to get receipts, they collect the receipts. They put it into a box, they pressed down a box, a bag, a sack. They left their will. When they died, to bury this sack of receipts with them in the grave. The question was, what do you need it for? They have the record in heaven. There's always, they said they don't want to have the duplicates, they want the originals. Go with them up to heaven. The original has to go with them. And they were not too far from wrong. It's nice. You cannot say they were wrong. So the point is that this is, the Gemara says that money does not go with a person to heaven. When he passes away, the person dies, his wealth does not go after him. His honor, his covet, his money, his fame does not follow him in the grave. Only the tzedakah that he gave. That part of the money goes with him. In other words, the money he still has stays on earth, it rots. The money he doesn't have, he thinks that he gave away, tzedakah, that's when it goes with him. The beloved accompanies him right up to the heavenly gates and fill into the heavenly court. This is why, to a degree, the din says, now we want to know what is permissible, the din says that it's better to do that when you give, to contribute something to a shul, to a yeshiva, have your name written on it, it'll come in handy. Or at least it is those who criticize this are wrong. There are many who criticize by saying they're the very special type, the do-gooders. You're not supposed to do that, you're not supposed to boast. It's better to be criticized than to criticize always. But as a matter of halacha, it definitely is permissible and advisable to have the name written down. Certainly so, the person gives. The ikar is the person should be zeichet to give stuff to the best of his ability, money to give the seiser if possible, and he's chus for this mitzvah tzedakah, you should pursue this, the emes, is zeichet to the gula shlema that comes through tzedakah, he is shadchin. Tzedakah, speaking again about the selecting the top madrigas of the mitzvah tzedakah. The Gemara says that more important than giving to a regular ani is giving to an ani Talmud Chacham. One who sits in Maris Taita, one who has to be given kavod, so that they give him according to his kavod. And if he is the kind that refuses to take tzedakah, and more important, you have to see to it to give him a chance to earn money. And how is that done? If people get together and they buy for him, they go out doing the buying for him, for his store, his business, they buy for him cheap, and then they send customers to buy from him at expensive prices, high prices. If he knows how to do business himself, then they lend him money to go into business. The Gemara says, it's in heaven too, that a person who does business with a Talmud Chacham, for a Talmud Chacham, for money, to have him earn money, two things. For one thing, he is zeched, guaranteed to sit in the highest yeshiva, the heavenly yeshiva. And secondly, he was that the Nevi'im, prophets, spoke about that day. There'll come a time when special things will happen in that future day. The Mashiach comes and so on. And these wonderful things will take place then. They're speaking, these Nevi'im are all talking about these people who help to make the Chacham. Person who helps to Chacham Ani, for one thing, which means that he assists him financially, and secondly, just as important, maybe more so, is one who is misdabek to a Talmud Chacham. As he misdabek, he becomes part of him. And this means family-wise. One who becomes a lechutin to a Talmud Chacham. He marries off his daughter to a Talmud Chacham, or he marries a daughter to a Talmud Chacham. This means literally becomes a attached relative through relations, not born, but attaches himself. That person is zechet to all the brachas of the Nevi'im spoke about for the future. The Gemara speaks about attach yourself to Talmud Chacham is the same as attach yourself to Hashem. So of all the tzedakahs possible, the highest possible tzedakah is the tzedakah of giving to a Talmud Chacham, not the money, but to help him in a way where he's not embarrassed to take tzedakah. That's why the Gemara says too that a person should always see to it, or the din, he should see to it as much as possible, stay away from taking tzedakah. If he's got to live in Yisudim, if he's got to live in depriving himself of even necessities of life, not to have to come to the assistance, to need the assistance of people. This is what the Gemara says. The Akiva says, "Say Shabbat Chachel." That Shabbos is so holy. Shabbos is so different because we have Shabbos now coming up. Shabbos is different even for the poor people because they have a table fit for a king. During the week they eat very skimpily, very little. On Shabbos they spread out a table, poorest as well as the richest. Akiva says that if it's a question of having to make Shabbos, a nice Shabbos, by taking money from others, receiving assistance from others, says it is better to have a Shabbos table that's as empty as a weekday table, should look like a weekdays, rather than have to resort to the help of people. Of course, the Gemara says that a person should call Poyal Hashem L'Ma'anehu. Fashizer said, call Poyal Hashem L'Ma'anehu. This means that for the sake of everything is done for the sake of Hashem. Poyal, the person should work, should do things, especially, what's the Poyal? Do things especially for Hashem. You see, this means what the Gemara says, Hashem says to a Jew, do for the Shabbos just as you would do if you had a lot of money. How? Costs money. Hashem says, for the sake of Shabbos, do everything. Lavu alai, v'nechi paneya. Borrow at my expense. I'll be responsible for it. I'll pay it back. Of course, Teshuva says this does not mean a person who has no money at all should go and borrow $100 and say, no, Hashem will pay back because no chance of me paying back. He's a person who has the backing for it. And of course, this is what's brought as seems to be a stira. Which is the Shtevis Poyal Hashem L'Manehu. What is this Poyal? Working for the sake of Hashem. Rabbi Nachman, having Hashem will pay back. This still means that a person who could afford, who has a means of receiving the money, eventually that person should do it. The person who's literally penniless, of course, the Kiva says, do not borrow because you can't pay back. There's no mitzvah at all. Then let the Shabbos be like a weekday. The Gemara says that even if the Kiva says it's got to be different than weekdays, there has to be something there. The Gemara says that at least he has to buy sardines. Fish, Chavit Shabbos, he doesn't have sardines. Because those days it was very cheap apparently. Nowadays sardines they weigh in with the gold nuggets. And a person should not eat small fish like that. So these are herring. The second Shabbos Kodesh to show some difference with how poor he is. And the Gemara says too, the Din says, according to the Gemara, that a person should, no matter how high he is, no matter how high a station in life, what kind of a coveting a person he is, say if he was one of the elite intelligentsia, and he became poor, he should go to do work, labor, even the lowest form of labor. This means to work in a slaughterhouse, to carry the slaughterhouse. There are certain parts that are extremely distasteful. The stripping of the animal, the hide of an animal, which is a very low, menial type of work. Or even worse, to carry out the kiruv, the stomach of the animal, just filled with the penis, the waste and that of the animal. All that a person should do that, earn money, that's respectfully earning money, and not to have to resort to begging. Better that's the biggest cover. Maintain your pride. Your pride is you're working, you're earning your way through yourself. Not to have to lower your pride and go to beg. This is what the Gemara says. A person should always see to it to stay away from taking stock. Bend every effort, do everything, make every sacrifice, not to have to go begging. A person is forced, of course, and tell the Chacham that certainly he should be given every possible assistance in the nicest manner, the most coveting manner. He should be zeichet to Ashidus, to Gdusha, the right kind of wealth, to the right kind of giving tzedakah, highest levels, that way to become closer to Hashem. Zeichet to see the Minyan Beis HaMikdash, to Farita, the Yes Mashiach Kiruv. Continue the Din of Hilchos Tzedakah. Din of Tzedakah, and we should conclude it today. There are two sides to tzedakah. One is the Nisan, the one that gives. One is the Mikabel, the one that receives. Of course, it is known, the Gemara says, the Medrash, that much more than the receiver receives, much more than the poor man receives, the rich man receives in return. He receives much more. That's why Nasa, the Lady Kodesh says that by Rus, when Rus was very poor, she went out to the field of Bayaz, and she collected these few grains of wheat, and he gave her, she went there because the poor person had to go to a field to collect these grains of wheat, so it says that he's shed a CC light. The man that I did for him was Bayaz, speaking about him. I did for him. So I took stock, I did for him. So he says, Nasa Adam, but the Indian of Nasa Adam is, who is the Tzalmenik and Nasa consists of the Tzalmenik, the Asidi, the Miskini, the rich and the poor, and Nasa is do for the rich more than we'll do for the poor. So, therefore, it is important to know that a person is rich. Rosenfeld says, you should know that it's not because of his good looks or his good deeds, because he has a mission in life to give to the poor. If he doesn't do the mission right, Hashem will take it away from him and give it the mission to the second person. But of course, the point is first to be rich, and that's, I think that we have somehow gleaned the secret of wealth here, because you know that all of us in this father were very rich. And of course, the secret is the fact that they say Ravach. And we started it here, so we should soon be seeing positive results. See the millions go flying here. So at least we have to know, if we're going to ask that much money, we have to know what to do with it. First and foremost, of course, the solid review of the Hilchos Tzedakah is the mitzvah of Maaseh, where it's not just the mitzvah of giving Maaseh. There's a mitzvah and there is a Zahidus care of not committing a sin. Remember that there are such things as unkosher food, but there's also unkosher clothing. There's an unkosher house. There's an unkosher car. Everything is unkosher if the money that bought it was unkosher. And this is absolute. There's no compromise in this. We have to postpone the topic of tzedakah just for one time, because there's other things that are vital, important now in Halacha, supposed to be taken up. First place, I just want to mention that Again, in the mitzvah, so mitzvah is a din of achdus. Achdus means unity among a group. The achdus should be, the real test of achdus is that a group should be considered one. Achdus, echod, us. Group is actually one organism. It's one person, not 10 or 100. It's one person, and every single person in that group should feel the pain, the suffering of every other one, as though it's actually his own. Feel it, should just more than sympathize, should act with it. If somebody in the group is ill, needs a refuah, each one should feel it as though he himself is suffering, and should put an effort into tefillah. The Gemara says if you do that, you're not giving away your tefillah for nothing. It's back to the top of your stocker. When you give stocker, you are receiving much more than you are giving. Much, much more. When you daven with a refuah for somebody, you're not giving away, wasting the tefillah. Because wasting means it goes for somebody else entirely. We call it wasting. It means even a person is selfish, he's still not going to lose his tefillah. The Lord says if you daven to somebody else, and you need that same item, you yourself are ill, and davening to somebody else's cure, you get the cure first. You receive the cure first. The Sifrei Kabbalah say that the reason is that a person's tefillah for somebody else goes up to as high as Bina, the highest, the heavens. It's the heaven that's above the seven heavens. And in Bina, in order to receive a koyach of shefa, bring down to the other person, he must first be equipped with it himself. So it's first bestowed upon him, and then it goes to the person. That's why the Gemara says that he himself receives that love first. We should always feel for everyone in the group. One is ill, or one is in need, or one needs help. We cooperate together. It's a simcha. Today, let's all say, all you have to do is answer Amen with kavanah. The foolish time if the one is going into the hospital today. By the way, we visited Eli, and oh, Hashem, he looks much better, he looks much happier. He was in very high flying spirits. He must have drank some 100 proof or something. But it looked fine. Should be coming out. Although naturally, as is expected, the doctors could not diagnose the case. Don't know what it is. But today, though, one is going in for an operation. Surgery to Mamishim, so let's all say the Refuah Shlema for Rivka Bas Sora. Refuah Shlema, the Ruach of the Nefesh. Now, come back to this major topic that we have to stress because it's something that slips our mind. The Gemara says that tefillah, davening, takes the place of a korban. When we had the Beis Hamikdash, the Jew would bring a korban every single day. In the morning, in the evening. Shachas, Mincha, and Shalom. We'd have these two times for a korban, morning and night. Evening. So now that we do not have the Beis Hamikdash, the Gemara says that we have now the kayach of tefillah. Our tefillah is in place of a korban. Right? It's vital because the tefillah today is as though we went to the Beis Hamikdash and brought a korban. And the din of a korban is that a moon makes a korban posek. If the animal has a defect of any kind, physical defect, the korban becomes posek. You cannot bring it as a korban on this man. In that case, then, the person davens, and there is a moon, a defect in his tefillah, means that either his tefillah is not accepted or the korban is rejected, or else he is committing the act of bringing a posek korban on his mezbeach. This is a very serious item. So he speaks about this and with a very strong azhara, very strong warning. The answer is, could there be a person whose tefillah is perfect? And you can have this perfect. Everyone has all evidence, all organs are perfect. The person daven this whole tefillah without one single machshava, and the strange machshava that goes into a person's tefillah means that the korban becomes possible because of the defect. Something has been broken. One of the edges is broken. So how can a person go through a whole tefillah and mamish have no pigam, no mum at all to make this, to keep this korban kosher? The answer is, Menachem Mendel Schneerson says, I want the Gemara statement, that this is possible only by tefillah b'tzibur. The korban requires bedika, inspection, and tefillah too requires inspection. The tefillah has an inspection, nobody can come out complete. If tefillah comes to tefillah b'tzibur, then there is no bedika necessary. That means that kaviyachal, tefillah, a korban that has a mum. If it is a korban tzibur, this doesn't hold a regular korban tzibur. In place of a korban tzibur, tefillah b'tzibur has no bedika necessary. Whatever the korban is, if we know even for sure that there are whole pieces missing, certain parts of the tefillah represent the heads or the heart, you have the whole head gone, a headless tefillah, there still is accepted in heaven. This is the koyach of tefillah b'tzibur. What is just as important, and just as important means that a person should introduce Hashem to simcha. Introduce means to daven with simcha. A person should feel simcha now. That's what we want to stress uppermost. That the Gemara says that one of the rabbis of the Gemara, his friend made him to read the song. He was very happy. He was elated, very highly elated. I asked him, "What are you so happy about?" He said, "Because I put on tefillin. You know what that is? I put on the crown of the king, crown of Hashem. What else should I be? Not happy. Overjoyed." This was the case of one who felt, the tzadik who felt in his marigish, all his name, and they felt the simcha of the mitzvah. We put on tefillin every day, and of course it's become so habitual, it's a habit that we hardly feel. However, what we should feel, this is what we should take to mind. Do not do it abstractly without thought. We should feel. Stop for a second to think. Every Jew should go out today, every one of us, go out today, and during the day, take time out for a minute to sing a niggun of simcha. That we zecher, despite everything else, we zecher, daven, posek. Posek is not the regular tefillah. It is a korban that's far above any other kind. Posek is a korban that's, the Gemara says that the person daven posek it's a shur of a special place of Aharon. Yes, tefillah is amazing. Above all, to tell you that tefillah is a shadow which one is higher. To have a tefillah of vasikin, which is the perfection, it is the highest, the apex, the highest possible point of tefillah is vasikin. And that to belittle this, belittle it, and you don't want it, you have to have it. You can have this chaf for it. You have to think about it, concentrate. The fact that we were zecher steadily now. In fact, we had, due to a wedding, a couple of weddings, we were even able to have Sunday Vasikin, which is just like a bonus thrown in. You can't get into that too. We have had for a few weeks now a steady series of davening Shachas Vasikin, and we have to be awakened, we have to arouse our conscience, arouse our neshama to know that this is not an ordinary occurrence. We have been accomplishing something which is so high, it is immeasurable. Let's follow up, let's acknowledge it. It's no simcha, because if we are sameach, we're happy about it, the reward for it, the importance of it is multiplied manyfold. Let's continue doing this with simcha, give thanks to Hashem, it's like to us, all this great mitzvah. We should be zeichet to continue to daven as much as possible, seek it until the process changes, I guess, too late. But anyway, to always take advantage of this item, and it is something that not will never regret, but will always be happy in this chus. That's for me forever, because Arizal himself stressed one of the main items of Arizal was seeking. The true Talmud Arizal, Talmud Bavly in all generations, the ones who always daven was seeking. And the Menachem Mendel Schneerson never missed a was seeking. Never missed it. There's no shit of being sick. Because the Gemara says that if a person is sick, after being sick, he misses davening or something, it's not a good sign. You're good when you don't get sick. You get sick when it doesn't stop you from learning a davening. That's called Yisud Shel Aharon. Menachem Mendel was there his whole lifetime, never missed a day of the sick. Never. It's a remarkable record. The person who davens for 2 years, for 2 months, plus for 2 weeks. So to daven that way for over 90 years, a sikhin, that's a record that's to be envied and admired. The days we do daven a sikhin, at least let's think about the fact that we were